So here's the main RStudio screen. You'll see that there's a couple different panes here. I'm going to explain each one of them and how you can do some customizations if you wish. This big pane that's maximized when you first open R, this is the console. This is where you type in commands, and R will give you output here. There can be another pane up here, but it's not immediately visible because I don't have anything open. But if I were to make a file, new file, let's just make a plain text file. Up here, this pane is the text editor, or sometimes called the source, and you can type in some text. So if you want to write documents, if you want to use R Markdown, or if you just want to keep track of some commands and save them as some file so you can have something later to come back to once you close R, you can save here with the save button, or file save or save as. You can also use some of these buttons here if you want to start a project, if you want to open something, if you want to make a new text file depending on what type, R Markdown, a notebook, an R script, or just a plain file, and you can save whatever extension you want. Alright, the right side of the screen, there's two panes there. The top one up here, this is environment, so you can see I've made a lot of different things here. Anytime you make a new object, you can save it. Once you assign it to an object, it will be shown in this list up here. So I'm going to clean this. So a nice blank slate. If I were to make just a very simple vector, I'm going to call it my vector. And I'm going to assign the values 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can see it's popped up here. Now, certain types of objects, particularly data frames, will let you click the name and look at the data like a spreadsheet or see what other values or structure it has. There's some other panes, tabs in this pane. History, so you can see these are all the commands I've done going back for a while. There's some other things here. Sometimes you'll have connections, sometimes you'll have Git. That's if you had set this project up on GitHub, but we'll worry about that later. I'm going to minimize this. This bottom right pane here, this is a viewer, so you can scroll through your files here. If you make plots, they'll make the output image here that you can look at. You can save it. You can also see what packages you have here. This is another way to use you can't install, but I suppose you could click install here. But if you want to load packages, you could simply do check marks here instead of having to type library by yourself. Help pages are here. You can search here, but certainly if you were to type question mark in front of something, it will show up. This is what the mean function does. And then lastly, depending on what you produce, sometimes if you make PDFs or slides, you'll get a viewer here that will show up. You can click these little buttons here to make these panes different sizes, but you can also do view, panes, and then you can zoom the different ones here. I like to have them all shown so that you can see all of them at the same time. And sometimes you can just click and drag at the intersections of them here to use this however you'd like. Some other simple customizations here if you want to change the look of RStudio. If you go to Tools, Global Options, so see, this is different from project options. If you want to do it just for a particular project, do project options, but I don't have any projects open. Global options, if you want to change RStudio for all the times you use it, regardless of project. I'm going to go, for example, to Appearance here. You can change the theme of the editor. I liked Solarized Light or Solarized Dark, particularly if you're working at night. You don't want to be staring at a white screen and a dark background. So if you do this, you can change the font as well. I like Fira Code, or there it is, Fira Code. You can change the size of the font just so it's bigger. I'm just going to hit Apply. Now, depending on the operating system, RStudio might need to reload for you to do this, but it worked just fine for me here. So again, now I have a new custom appearance. And you can do a lot of customization. The world is your oyster. You can ask me what other things I like to do or what other things are possible for you, but here's just a nice little gist.